the hour of chat with your fellow hosts.
Hello, welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Troy, and we are going to do a live stream today. I'm going to be doing some C3PO and R2D2. I think it's on. Let's check. Make sure we're live. Looks like it. There we go. And let's see, chat. There we go. Chris, hello. And greetings, Jay. Lovely to see you. I skipped the opening and everything today just because it's just me. It seems silly to go to all the extra steps. And yeah, so since it's Power of the Force 2 month, may the power of the Force be with you, the little hashtag. I have this 1997 Star Wars coloring book. There is a video on the channel where I did a flip through and I colored the Yoda page. Did this one. These were released around the time of the special edition. I noticed Chris's comment about Golden Books. Golden Books basically took over from Whitman, I believe it is. Let me check really quick. Yeah, it was Whitman who did most of the coloring books in the 70s. At some point, Whitman, Golden Books, they all kind of became the same company. So they did all of the Star Wars, which is different because Kenner had the master license in the 70s. So most of the Star Wars coloring books during the original trilogy were Kenner. I've got flip throughs I'm going to do on those later. I've colored a few pages from those. All of the Empire Strikes Back stuff on my channel has come from vintage Empire Strikes Back Kenner books. But I'm going to do some proper flip throughs of those in the coming weeks and months. So this is Heroes and Villains, which is a pretty good one. Basically has all the characters. I'm going to do C3PO and R2D2 to start with. It's a little bit complicated, but also I figured I could do live on stream the gold effect that I use when I do 3PO sometimes, not always. I also printed out Chewbacca just in case. I've got the Gamorrean Guard, Bosk, and a TIE Fighter pilot. I'm going to do another stream on Monday because I am off for Memorial Day, and for me, Star Wars is a Memorial Day thing. It's not a Christmas thing. I know Disney's trying to make fetch happen, but for me, it's always going to be May. So it's Star Wars month. There's a reason it's, May the 4th or whatever. Partly going back to that. So anyway, we're going to start with this lovely 3PO and R2 I'm going to assume Tatooine since they're the two suns. And I'm going to do a few fancy things. Might as well. And we're going to start with, I'm going to use the Caran d'Ache water-soluble crayons. And yes, I say crayons weird because I'm from the South. It's one of the only times you can tell I'm from the South. Apparently, it's a whole thing where Southern people cannot say crayons without it being weird. So I just make it extra weird. So I'm going to start with blue turquoise because it kind of looks like the color I would assume for a Tatooine sky. And these do look like regular crayons, but they're not. They kind of work like watercolor. If you watched any of my shorts or some of my longer videos, you've seen me use these before. They are one of my favorite things to use, especially because it often makes skies and backgrounds go a lot faster. I am not a big fan of skies and backgrounds. So I use these a lot. But they're also really fun to use. And honestly, if it's not fun, why do it? So here we are. So I'm just going to get the blue down. And I'm doing fairly light. You don't need a lot of this. It's probably a little bit more than I need, but I do want, I have found with this lighter blue that it's not always quite as vibrant as the darker color, so I kind of going a little bit heavier maybe than I would for a normal blue sky, just because this particular shade can sort of get washed out once it once I drop the water on it. So I'm just going to get everything covered and get as close as I can to the dome and to the hills and everything. It is going to warp the paper, but that's okay because I will flatten it out after stream. So it might get all warped and stuff, but it's okay. So there we go. And I'm going to go in with, this one is called light blue and slightly darker. And I'm just going to put a little bit of that down at the horizon. Just to get a little bit of a gradient. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm not necessarily spending as much time as I would on this part of it if it were like a solo video that I'm then going to speed up. So check in with the chat really quick. Hello, good to see you, Christina. And then, oh, yeah, it's a thing. And, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work. So, yeah. And let me, really quickly, I'm going to go in. There we are. All right. And let me find, I'm going to put on the music in the background just because it's just, since it's just me today, can get a little, I don't know. I like having a little bit of music in the background. So there we go. All right, so I am going to go ahead and do the water in the background really quick, just so that it happens. And this does sort of work like watercolor, as you'll see once the water goes down. You sort of smooth it up against the line. With my printer, sometimes the black lines will bleed a little bit with the water, but it's usually not bad if it happens. And I don't necessarily mind. Since I'm not selling these to people, these aren't like commissioned work. This is just me making videos and entertaining myself. Well, entertaining you, entertaining myself. I don't worry so much about little details like that. So anyway, I picked this page because C3PO or 2D2 are pretty iconic. I've also, the fun thing about the Heroes and Villains book is it is just sort of pinups and stuff. This is very close to a page I did from an Empire book that I made a short out of. And I want to finish this Heroes and Villains book and do all of the pages in it. So I was like, well, if I'm going to do that, you know, I'm not necessarily going to do another short that looks almost exactly like another short I've done. So I was like, well, I could do this as one of the live stream pages and then demonstrate the gold effect for C3PO that I've done a couple times. I've tried to film a few shorts where I showed the gold effect and then I skip a step or forget to write down the exact step and then can't recreate it later, so they just go out as regular. At some point, I think it'll happen once I stop. I'm almost to the end of the daily, 1 year of daily shorts. And once I'm out of that, I'll be able to sort of catch my breath a little bit and make some tutorials for some of the stuff. So that'll be fun. I've enjoyed the shorts. I hope everyone is enjoying the shorts, but it's a little bit of a time, there's a lot of creative stuff I would like to do that hasn't been happening just because of the time and energy it takes to produce shorts so that I have one every day. And then during like Halloween and Christmas, for a while there, I was doing 2 or 3 shorts a day to celebrate the holidays. So there will be holiday shorts this year, but I'm not going to be doing double, triple day shorts. That's just, it's not a realistic. I also wasn't making as much long form content back then, so it's a little bit easier to do a daily short before I was making longer videos. So we will get there. Hey, nice to see you. Yep, go replay squad. We appreciate you guys. You're short. Thank you. I appreciate that. I at least try to make them interesting and fun. So it's been kind of, because I did a bunch of them sort of so that I would have a backlog in case like I got sick or anything and couldn't, or got overwhelmed. I've talked a little bit about some of my mental health and depression stuff. Not in super details because nobody cares that much. But I've had a bunch that are sort of just sitting there that have been finished, that were backlog in case of an emergency. It's been kind of nice because I haven't had to do as many shorts the last few weeks. I've just been doing ones to sort of fill it out, and I've been able to put out some of the older ones. I did a couple Lord of the Rings this week that I've been sitting on since like December. And those were really fun to do. I did a lot with sort of these water-soluble crayons on the one with Frodo and Galadriel. I guess that's how you say her name. There's extra L's in there. But that one was really fun. And then the one with the ring wraith was pretty cool. So there's some fun stuff coming that, I've got a Daisy Duke portrait page that will be coming out in the next few weeks because I wanted to practice, because the actress who plays Daisy Duke has sort of like a really dark tan skin tone, and I wanted to practice sort of that because I do a lot of Carrie Fisher and She-Ra, and they're pretty pale. So it was nice to work with this slightly darker skin tone because, you know, a lot of the properties I do don't have a lot of non-white people in them. So it was nice to get to practice. So that'll be coming in the next couple of weeks. So a couple of other older ones. So all right, and there we go. So there we have our Tatooine sky. It's a little blotchy in a few places, but I like it. It works. I do like that these give it a watercolor look, which is kind of, I think, fun. And it's a good way to sort of elevate. So now it's time to do some Tatooine suns. So I'm going to start just with Prismacolor. I'm going to do Deco Yellow. Just a plain yellow shade. It's pretty light, and then I'll build on top of it with some other colors. The Deco Yellow is going to get used a lot on this page just because we've got sand and we've got 3PO, so it's going to be a pretty yellow page. But there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to take a little bit of artistic license with the sun. So I'm going to first go in for the bigger one, and I'm going to add some, this is Canary Yellow. So it's going to be a lot brighter than that Deco Yellow is. Just sort of go in and fill in the spaces, sort of along the edges. And that'll help. I'm gonna make it bright, and I'm gonna, yeah, there we go. That's working. Oh, the autofocus. I don't know, my autofocus issues had cleared up, and then StreamYard did some sort of update, and since then my phone and the autofocus have been fighting again. So I'm now going in with it's called Yellow to Orange. I'm just gonna sort of go over the edge of this sun. Helps give it a little bit more of distinction, but also gives it some dimension so that it's not necessarily a flat circle. Oh, well, that time was me bumping the camera with my forehead. Sorry about that one. That one's controllable. That one is not StreamYard being a jerk. Alright, and now that I've got sort of those other two yellows, I'm just going to go in with the deco yellow and smooth it down. And sort of blend everything in so that it doesn't quite look as streaky. But again, a little bit of that is to give it a texture. So. Hello, Brick. Lovely to see you. I hope you're having a good day. I'm gonna get this is up. This is A New Hope. So 3PO is gonna have a silver leg. And I need to double check to see which one should be silver, because in A New Hope, he actually has a silver leg until the very end of the movie when they clean him up. So I'll double check that. And I say yeah because I do have somewhere. It's a Crayola Color with Edge pack of Star Wars pages, and there's a lot of sequel stuff. So there's a lot of Kylo Ren and Rey in it, and it looks like one of the pages has sequel trilogy 3PO where he has the red arm. So I'm gonna get a chance to do the red arm. It would just feel weird to do the red arm on Tatooine when, I guess I'm a little bit too much of a stickler sometimes for continuity, but this is just how I am now. So, right, and for this other sun, I'm going to go with more orange. So I'm going to get out. This is Pale Vermilion, which is an orange color. So I'm kind of go in and again around the edge and fill out all that space so that it looks hotter than the other one. So what is everyone's, well, I don't know if any of you even have weekends off, but if you do, what are your big Memorial Day weekend plans? I am, other than live streaming on Monday, I'm just gonna take it easy this weekend. Got the Sunday live stream with Aaron, the toy enhancer. We're gonna be doing another page from that G.I. Joe coloring book that we're working on this year. And then other than that, I am just sticking around the house, trying to get stuff done. Try to finish up the very last few shorts I need to finish my 1 year of daily shorts. I know I keep saying it, but it's just that if I don't keep saying it, it's like, I'm afraid I'll just be like, oh, I can just, nobody knows I'm doing that anyway. So if everyone knows, then it gives me incentive to keep it going. But I'm really close. I have like, I think 10 pages and the year ends on July 15th. So if I can finish, no, 8, because I did 2 this morning before this. And I'm going to do a couple after this. So, but yeah, so it's going to be cool. You know, it's going to feel like quite the accomplishment. Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know if you've got family or if you're traveling, but like, so one nice thing about sort of being away from my family and Matt and I, we're sort of both apart from our families. So it's like, we don't have like family barbecues or whatever for the weekend. It's just going to be us and we're going to just have a chill weekend. It's us and the cats and live streaming and you know, old people stuff. All right, there we go. So the sun, this second sun is a little bit more planet-like, but we're gonna call it good. I like sort of the look of them, and it's an artistic thingy. So we're going art. Oh my goodness. See, the repair the plumbing and the putting in the new fuel pump in your truck, those are the two things that like sound awful to me, but the rest of it sounds I like filming content. It's been sort of the nice thing about sort of doing the YouTube thing, realizing I actually like making the content. I just don't have enough hours in my day to make all of the content I want. That's what I don't like about it. Like, if I didn't have a day job and had unlimited hours, you guys would get long videos every day and toy history videos every day. So, one day I'll win the lottery, or a very rich Nigerian prince I'm related to will die and I'll get many, many dollars. And then I'll just make content all day, every day. So, but yeah, we got new shelves for our like a new entertainment center shelf unit for the living room, and that's cool. It has a bunch of drawers, so I'll be able to start unboxing my backlog of action figures, and some of them will be able to just end up stored in a drawer, I'm gonna assume. Because I have to redo all of my displays. I've got the redo of the display started though, and as soon as I get it all done, I'm gonna do a display. This is the part of my collection I'm displaying video. That'll be fun. You can see all of the hoarding. Well, I mean, we don't call it hoarding, we call it collecting, but it's kind of what it is. So, but yeah, and I think once I start the unboxing, I really should. I'm gonna probably make some video, and I'm gonna borrow a page or two from Brick and Cobb and put them on a Lazy Susan and film it. And I'll drop those as shorts after I finish the daily coloring shorts. Maybe use those as a buffer for the time I'm taking off from doing coloring shorts. But it's also just kind of nice to have days where I don't have any video to promote. And so, all right, and I've used Deco Yellow again for the sand, but that's not going to. That's not the permanent part of it. I'm going to go in with, let's see, what do I want to use here? So I'm going to use like a brown shade to sort of dirty it up. All right, so yeah. Perfect. All right. So a couple different Prismacolors. First, I've got a terracotta from the Scholar set, and the reason I'm using this one is my the premier terracotta that I have is I just finished using it, so I'm gonna finish off this Scholar one. And for anyone wondering, Scholar is sort of a slightly cheaper Prismacolor set. They're not quite as soft and they're not quite as blendable as regular Prismacolor, but I enjoy them. I use them from time to time. I can get some nice textures from them, so I like to use them for that reason. And they're still sort of smooth and soft like you expect from a Prismacolor. So I'm going to start with that and just go in over the yellow and add some stuff. I was sort of when I was a kid, my least favorite part of Star Wars was all the Tatooine stuff. I kind of got bored with it. I liked C-3PO, but sometimes too he would annoy me because he was just so whiny. So like, but I also felt bad for him because everyone's so mean to him. So like, he definitely had mixed feelings about 3PO. But also, it kind of makes sense once you sort of see the whole, sort of whole scope between the prequels and he has the big chunk in his memories, and it doesn't look like R2 ever got memory wiped. So sort of R2 knows everything. 3PO doesn't, but R2 also doesn't seem to have ever clued 3PO into stuff. So like, you're on Tatooine and like, R2 obviously knows where to find settlements because he was there before when he met 3PO, and he sort of, instead of going, I mean, I know Lucas didn't actually have any of that figured out, but still, like, in context, R2 was kind of a jerk sometimes with 3PO, so. And I'm just sort of making the ground a little bit more than yellow. And that'll also help sort of 3PO and R2 stand out a little bit. This is a pretty simple page, so I might actually finish this one, and if so, we'll do I'll start the Chewbacca page. So let's try. I'm going to aim for the full 2 hours today. And just because if I don't work on these on stream, I probably won't do them because, again, I've done a 3PO and R2 short that's pretty close to this, so I'll end up making up reasons not to do this page. And I want to complete the book, and that means every page. So it's the OCD. Hello. Lovely to see you, Andrew. Ha, yep, your lazy Susan is a hard worker. Hello, Duchess. Lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in. I watched your video that hit on Wednesday. I haven't commented yet. It's still sitting there on my screen at the end. I will get to it. It's been a hectic few days. Yeah, see, at least there's that. I'm sort of... I enjoy this, but sometimes I'm very ambivalent. Oh, poor Lightbox. Yeah, exactly. Like they always gave that vibe. They were the Bert and Ernie of Star Wars. Right? It seems like 3PO. I don't know. Like I said, I feel really bad for 3PO sometimes. And I will say, like Rise of Skywalker, there's definitely some issues. I thought C-3PO got some really good moments in that. Like, there's that really sweet moment right before they have to do whatever with his memory so that he can read the ancient Sith text, where it's like, that was a really sweet moment. The movie was a little bit of a mess script-wise, so it's too bad that really, really good C-3PO moment sort of gets lost a little bit in some of the mess that script was, because that could have been a really much bigger moment if that movie had just been a little tighter and a little bit less, I don't know. I don't even know how quite to explain. It was just a little bit of a mess. So, but I still enjoyed it. So, I don't think I've ever found bad. There's Star Wars I don't enjoy as much, but I've never had bad Star Wars. And when everyone's like, this Star Wars was bad, I tune them out because, again, even the worst Star Wars, I mean, like, I've watched the Ewok Adventure and the Ewok Caravan, like both of those Ewok movies, I've watched multiple times. They are not good. I watch the holiday special every year for the holidays, so people have come over and I'm like, we're gonna watch the holiday special now, and they literally are in physical pain, and I don't care. It's the tradition. So can't roll with the holiday special, then I don't know if I can trust you when society collapses. So it's a test to see how tough you are and if you can make it. And if you can make it through the holiday special at least once, that means whenever society collapses and I'm rebuilding society, you can come hang out with us. I'm now going to go in on top of the yellow and that brown with Gamboge. It's a light fast Prismacolor. They've actually discontinued this. This is about a 10-year-old pencil. I really like these, but this is actually just the Prismacolor. I believe it's and the Premier set. It's actually just like it's either sand or a yellow ochre. I can't remember which one, and I'm too lazy to reach over to where those two pencils are in my set so that I can compare them. But you can still find the light fast ones on eBay for pretty inexpensive. They're light fast, and they're a little bit more expensive, and they actually get a little bit shinier on video. So I guess as they were more expensive back in the day because, of course, light fastness. So I don't think they were as big sellers. There were some really good colors, which is why I still picked them up. Most of the colors are available. Were ported over to the regular sets that are available as various. Like there's a really good violet color that is pomegranate in the Prismacolor sets now. And that is one of my favorite colors. So I don't get to use it as much as I would like, but every so often. It's good for Leia's Bespin dress. Yeah, it was exactly. There's a little bit too much of that. Hey, Cobb. Well, I will keep it to a minimum so I'm not contributing to your delinquency, but thanks for popping in. Yeah, I'm just going to go in and sort of smooth the ground down. And I'm getting a nice sort of, deserty color here. And it's nice because it will stand out whenever these look separate from when I go in to do all the 3PO things. So, because that is sort of the disadvantage of 3PO is that, a lot of these desert colors are the same shades that 3PO is. But all the more reason to sort of go bright with his gold. I need to figure out, I'm about to Google to see what leg is silver for him. They can get the right silver leg. But we'll do R2 first. We'll save 3PO for last since I'm going to do the gold stuff. And this, again, sort of all be the fun things. And so at this point when I'm making a short, all these parts are when I am like listening to all of your videos. So this is where you guys making content and doing lives and dropping 15 to 20 minute and longer videos is really useful and helpful to my process, because I can just put you guys on, listen to you while I do all of this. Because this is the stuff that isn't particularly exciting to do, but it's cool because, like it makes the whole picture what it is. So if you are a content creator watching this, I appreciate you, because this is the stuff that you guys help me manifest when I'm doing stuff not on a live stream. So it's looking pretty good. To resharpen this one so that I can get the rest of the desert. It's getting a nice bright deserty look, which is good. Anyway though, yeah, the Tatooine stuff always sort of bored me as a kid. By the time you get to Mos Eisley in the original movie, that's when it, like, for me as a kid, I stopped being bored. And then later, if you find out that like there's a bunch, all the the big scene and Tashi Station and all of that happens on screen. I've seen those, and it's like thank you, Marshall Lucas, for convincing George to cut those out when you did your edit, because boy, that was a lot. And I don't think any of it actually. Like obviously the movie worked before we had any of this. It was weird in the special edition where they added back some of the big stuff. And all of a sudden Biggs pops up at the Rebel base and he's like, "Oh, Luke, it's good to see you again." It's like, who the hell is that? Of course, fans know who that is because, Biggs. But like, the people who had not read any expanded universe, they're just like, what the heck was that? Like, you kind of needed to put it all back, George, to make that scene work, but at least we got a Biggs action figure out of it, right? I think for me, during the Power of the Force 2 era, that was more important to me, I think, about the special editions, was like, anything they put in there that had new characters meant there were new figures we could get. And so... all about the action figures at that point. I had all these notebooks where I would sit and make just these long lists of characters that I wanted them to make. And, now as an old person with a computer, I haven't done a spreadsheet. When Motu Origins first came out, I did a bunch of spreadsheets. Like my Princess of Power Origins wish list, and we can put that into the wishes that will never come true, because it's pretty clear at this point Mattel is not going to do anything with Princess of Power other than maybe a couple of cartoon figures, which blows, but whatever. You do you, Mattel. I'll just spend that money on vintage Princess of Power stuff and customizing Princess of Power and Origins figures. So, but I'm not bitter. Oh, wait, there we go. Yeah, no, I don't, that, I will say that, Andrew, about your videos, like, I'm like, wow, they're short. And it's not bad, like, if you don't have, like, I'm not a fan of people, like, I speed up all of my coloring videos, like, like where I do a flip through, or if it's just even color and chill. Like, I released a She-Ra one last week that's like 8 minutes, and it was like, it took forever to get it down to 8 minutes, because that was like 7 hours that it took to do that page. And I went back and forth, like, could I make it faster? And I was like, no, 8 is fine. I hate doing anything over 15 minutes. I like it to be succinct, but I also enjoy a longer video, so that's kind of why I started doing some of these flip through books, because if I flip through one of the coloring books and sort of walk through it and show everyone all the pages, one, they can see what's in it, because that's an issue I sometimes have with buying these old coloring books, is I don't know what is inside of it. It's not like anyone on eBay is going to show every page. So that way, for somebody who's wanting to buy them, I'll do the flip through so you can actually see what's in there to see if it's, worth your, because there have been a few I've bought where it's like there are maybe 2 or 3 pictures in there that are sort of worth the effort, and then I've spent too much, and then I'm a little annoyed. But yeah, so like, that's like 8 to 10 minutes, and then I'll tack on like 10 to 15 minutes of coloring a page from that book, and that comes out to about 30, and it's like, it's a little bit longer than what I would normally do, but at the same time, it's like there are 2 different things happening. So I'm dropping a Star Wars shorts collection on Monday that's an hour almost, but it's every Star Wars short that I've ever done, including the ones that haven't released between now and the end of the 1 year. I was kind of like, maybe not, but at the same time, a lot of the people who watch my longer stuff don't watch the shorts anyway. And a lot of the shorts video people don't watch my longer stuff. So I was like, this way, you know, it's just there. So I need to finish editing that. I still need to film some stuff for my Princess Leia video that lands next Friday. Kind of all this, at first it was like kind of cool to be the last video to drop in the Power of the Force thing. But now everyone has gone before me and there have been some really good videos, so I'm like, maybe I should have gone first. But too late for that. But it'll be a fun video. It's one of the videos I wanted to make when I launched my channel, so it was kind of cool that the stars aligned to do it as part of everyone else doing cool videos. Well, Andrew, what's funny about you saying that is it feels like you do script, because if you don't script, you at least have like an outline of the points you want to hit, because you stay on topic. It feels really concise. So I enjoy that. Yeah, exactly. That was one of my favorite 3. I still have those. They're in a box right now because, you know, I'm redoing the display. But those 3, that was, again, and 3 new ladies. Like, that was a big deal. Yep, I want those 2. I want every version of She-Ra in figure form. All of them. Like, there's no reason we couldn't have... Yeah, and I'm even for the idea of, like... You know, give us classic She-Ra and then some sort of multiverse story where, like, the other She-Ra comes in. Or I'm even happy if, like, we get glimmers, you know, like Angela's sister, you know, like Celeste, who's like basically DreamWorks Angela, and her daughter Glow, or whatever, you know, whatever names they want, and bring those designs in. Like, I'm happy if they do, like, all of that. You know, Bo's cousin, Arrow, or, you know, whatever they want to do to, like, bring all of these characters over and have them all live. I'm happy with it. Like, it's my favorite part about DC Comics after Crisis. Everyone, like, lived on the same Earth. And, like, they just made it work. And it was just cool. Until they didn't. Until they tried to get too fancy with explanations. And then it got messy. But, like, for a little bit where it was just like everyone was there and there wasn't too much effort to, like, explain why suddenly everyone was there. Some good times. Like, this is where headcanon is your friend. So, anyhow. Alright. Well, I don't know. Like, I went a little bit more into the sand. Sorry, Anakin. I know you hate sand wherever you are, sir, but you know, it just needs a little bit more. And what's funny is the little bit more that it needs doesn't actually. I've got the camera in front of me so that I can look. I look down the page and I look up at it. Like, you can't actually even see what is bothering me, but oh well. Maybe it's fine. All right. I think we are good. And if not, it's right here, so I can grab it later. Really quickly, I'm gonna pull up. No, I don't need to pull up. I was like, I'm going to pull up a reference for R2. I've literally got 5 R2-D2s to my left here. So I'm going to look over at the R2-D2. I've got the vintage 12-inch. I've got a bunch of 3 3/4 scale ones. So I think I'm good for R2. All right. So for R2, instead of white, I'm going to go with cream and use that so that, and this doesn't always show up on camera, but I also am going to go in and put a little bit of grit on him, since at this stage in the movie they were in the desert, they were a little dirty, so I'm gonna dirty these droids up. And it's a lot easier to sort of do the brown to dirty them up, especially R2 if I start with like a base of cream color. It's funny, I literally was about to Google R2D2 and I have all these R2s over here beside me, so. I'm like, what color is he again? Just look to your left. And then that one is, yeah, that's. And just, I'm gonna leave all of the blue stuff on color. And they've even sort of helped by drawing some little bits of dirt onto him, so. Let's color around those, but leave those mostly blank. It's funny, as a kid, the R2D2 sticker on the figure never actually bothered me. It wasn't until they, Power of the Force, when they did a proper R2, that it began to bother me. So then all of a sudden it's like, wow, that sticker is so lame. But for a really long time, I still kind of like the aesthetic of those stickers, but at the same time, it's a little lame. But it's one of the many ways Kenner made that line cost-effective and affordable. If they tried that at all today, like, fans would just lose their mind. But all right, and then for the blue on R2, I'm actually going to use a blue metallic pencil. It's a very cheap metallic pencil. When I tried out Temu once just to see what it was all about, and I got like for $2 this set of metallics, which appear to be the same metallics I got for $15 through Amazon, just with a different name. So decent quality, not the best. Although these do smell a little bit different, smell weird compared to the $15 ones. But fun fact is there aren't a lot of good metallic pencils. Prismacolor has a couple metallics and they suck. Their gold and silver aren't very good. So, but ironically, these $2 Temu basically knockoff pencils are better than anything metallic that Prismacolor would have made. I've got some Derwent metallics that are not bad, but I still, some of their colors aren't great. And so far, nobody has a red metallic that's an actual red. So that's annoying. And so they have names like Red or Ketchup, but it's really more of a, I don't know what I would call it. It's not, I think red metallic, I think bright candy apple red. Like my Starbucks cup used to be before all of the red peeled off. But so far, there aren't any sort of red pencils that have that fire engine candy apple option for metallics. So go fig. Yeah, right? Well, I think, yeah, like, let's go ahead and just talk. I know this is technically Star Wars stuff, but let's just talk about that for a minute. Because, like, yeah, the goal was, we could do toy and filmation, we'll do both. But the problem is what we ended up getting was this weird, not quite either of them. So like for me, a lot of the Princess of Power and Classics fell short because it was neither nor. And there are a few, like Glimmer, I felt like Glimmer and Angelo, it worked out for me, but like the Natasha fell short for me. Like, like Natasha, like, I mean, it doesn't help that, in my opinion, her filmation design wasn't great. It was too simplified. but like the Spinnerella was sort of in between the two, and it didn't work. And then it had all that weird hard plastic for her fringe. Like, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, like, he has said repeatedly, and he used to say that on videos when he had all those videos up before he had to take them down because he stole somebody's stuff without crediting them. That was the plan, but it's just like, I don't know. Like, it would have been nice if he would have actually had 100% toy versions and then done Filmation once they got the license. But it was just, they were all this weird, because he was like, oh, well, we could do whatever was in the style guide. Well, style guide had Filmation. It was just not quite the same colors as Filmation. A lot of the style guide was Filmation design with toy colors. But like, I still have not gotten a Catra that makes me as happy as the vintage Catra. I like that sort of, that chest emblem from the vintage Catra toy. Like, I feel really unhappy we have not gotten that again. We keep getting her with the Horde bat. It's just, she's the cat lady. Give her a cat looking, because like that symbol on her chest look like cat claws or something, or whiskers or something. And we keep getting her with the stupid Horde bat. It's just like, come on, guys. Now, give me a good Catra. I need a good Catra. I need Glimma. I need Angel. I need at least all of the Wave 1 Princess of Power figures. Like, it's ridiculous that we haven't gotten those updated. Don't give me Castaspella with the blue tunic. Give me Castaspella with with the oranges and the yellows and the golds, and like, I need that disc. Give me the disc with like some holographic sticker on it. Like, give us a proper Castaspella, peeps. But again, I think there's so much misinformation out there about sort of how She-Ra killed the He-Man line, which is not accurate, but I think because of that, there's just this hesitancy for Mattel to actually do anything with it. Yeah, the rights are weird for Filmation looks, and I think part of it is that they just think nobody's gonna buy toy versions of the characters, but they can do the toy versions because those are Mattel designs. Technically, they could even do Shadow Weaver. They just would have to do her as Sultra. And because I'm pretty sure with the research that I've done is that the Horde Witch that we've seen a couple that showed up on the duplicate box with like the orange tights and the black boots and the shag haircut, I think that was an early Mattel design for Shadow Weaver because she's got green skin. She looks like Shadow Weaver without the red hood. So I've asked a few people questions about that, and I'm waiting to get some information. If I ever get a firm answer on that one, I'll be dropping my video, Mattel's original Shadow Weaver plan. I'll put a picture of Cara Dune on there. Clickbait. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about how the rights work, and I think because of all of that, it's just easier for them to not do any of it, so as to not split hairs, which I guess if it were me, I would probably also be like, that's just too much work to navigate. So I'm giving R2 a little bit more blue than he actually has, but oh well. I want a little bit more blue on my R2. Alright, that's that and that. Now we're going to dirty R2 up a little bit before we get to the dough. Yeah, well, it's the Sultra that the version of Sultra that Formo is doing is the second version of her that had like the witches have. But there's a different one that had that has the she's on the Leo Fake, the PowerCon exclusive Leo Faker duplicate box art. But yeah, it was the one that Tom Art's the Tom Art magazine, when they did their Masters of the Universe article, mistakenly said, "Oh, look, here's an early version of Evil Lyn." Sir, that sketch is dated to 1984. Evil Lyn came out in 1983. Please try again. You know, 1984. What was Mattel developing in 1984 that would have required a witch? I don't know, guys. Beyond me. But yeah. So. Yeah, and the date on the original sort of Sultra, not the purple dress witch hat one, but the one before that. I mean, even the one with the witch hat is still dated, but it's like in the same batch that like where the original Octavia sketches are from. So like Mattel could do Octavia, they would just have to do the purple one from those designs. Which, you know, the line is called Origins, guys. You could easily do the concept sketch rather than the Filmation version. And then just make it a proper way, and then you double tap and you release. And then you can release her under the Filmation line and reuse some of the tooling. So, there you go. But, whatever. Whatever, Heather. Alright, I've gotten some grit on R2, so he's not a clean droid. There we go. It's pretty decent. And now I'm gonna need to do his dome. For the dome, I'm not gonna use the silver. I'm just gonna use a couple different grays to sort of mimic silver. Let's see. Move this off really quick. No, that's too late. Okay, that one will work. And that one's too dark. Okay, I think this one for sure. There we go. All right, so this one and that one, perfect. There are my two, and then that one's too scratchy. I'm gonna sharpen this really quick. And that's what the electric drill sound is the sharp. Alright, and I'm just going to go in to create sort of the silver look for R2. And just, this is where Prismacolor being sort of a creamy pencil works out, is that depending on how much I put down, it helps sort of create a sheen like his dome should have. So I don't have to do necessarily a lot of shading. I mean, with other colors, I can pretty much just use this one with different pressure to get sort of that silver look to it. There we go. Yep, there. It's coming along. Nice. All right, and oh, very good. We're about to hit 1 hour, which is pretty good because I'm almost done with R2 and about to start 3PO. So definitely I'll finish this one while we're on stream. I'll start another page after this one's done. Definitely won't finish that one in 2 hours, but again, like I do with normal streams, I'll finish it and then post it on social. I'm just gonna go in with a different pressure in here to sort of get that silver look. Just get sort of a gleam to it. And then this is a much lighter one, so I'm gonna use that to sort of smooth and blend some of the rough parts of the silver. So that, and again, it's sort of helping to create what looks like sort of a reflection or a shine. Okay. This one is a Verithin, which is, if you watch the recent Mochi poster, the Mochi poster video I did that has like the cross cell art on it, or art made from cross cell. That's what I used to do all of those. It's just very thin. It's a harder pencil than sort of the Prismacolors, and it's not as creamy. But I like using the this gray one, as you can tell, because it's almost gone. I like using this one, especially when I'm doing silver, just to sort of come along the edge, because it sort of helps give, especially when I'm trying to create a silver or a metallic look, it sort of helps give it sort of, gradient isn't quite the right word, but there's sort of like a look that like metal has. And so I find that sort of going in around the edge with this really dark, harder lead helps sort of get that look to it. So, alright, that looks pretty good. And now we need to give R2 his eyeballs and stuff. So this one we're going to go with this blue, which is pretty close to the metallic, but that'll get fixed in a second. And sort of the same right here. And then I'm going to use red for his little camera, and I'm going to put red in this one, and then red for the eye. And I'm going to go really dark in the center. But and you leave a little bit of the white at the end, it sort of makes it look like it's glowing. And I often help that by going in with the white, this white Prismacolor, and just along the edges. Sort of blend it out. It makes it look like it's glowing. I'm going to do the white over the blue so it doesn't blend in too much to the metallic blue, but also makes it look like it's glowing. So all right, there we go. So R2 is pretty much done. So it's time to do 3D. So hopefully I can get this gold effect to work. Let's see. Oh my goodness, right? Well, and then Golden Girl as well, because there's also a spider for Golden Girl. And so, yeah. So to do the gold effect, first step is I'm going to use Deco Yellow. And it doesn't need to be dark because this is just sort of the first layer, like an undercoat. But I do like, you do sort of want a cover. So I'm just gonna go in and sort of a rough cover. And it should be this leg over here that's silver. So I'm gonna, and if it's not, we'll just say that it's a camera flip. I'm pretty sure it's that leg. And if not, oh well. I'm not trying to sell this to anyone, so. I need to be super accurate. But get most of this covered. And because I sort of need the yellow under it for the next two steps to work to get to that place where it looks like gold. And again, hopefully this works. There's a reason why I've had a couple 3PO shorts that were supposed to be, here's how to do gold, and they didn't. Sometimes it's because I'm an impatient person, and I'll get too fast and I'll forget to record the step, or I'll forget to do this step. So one day I will get over that. It's the one feedback my art teacher always gave me: slow down. But it's kind of hard sometimes to slow down. All right. Okay, that is that. And there are different tutorials that you'll find online for doing a gold effect. Pretty much my opinion is do the one that works for you. This one might not work for you, and that's okay. Alright, so I'm going to go in with Tuscan Red. And just really lightly. Oh, well, I would go in if my pencil had not just broken. So let's fix that. I think it's almost time to change my electric pencil sharpener. I think I threw them pretty quickly. Okay, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to go in and just I tend to do this sort of along in corners and in places where shading would naturally happen. In this case, they've sort of given the suggestion of a gleam, so I'm going to sort of lean into that and go with that. But I'm also going to do a little bit on the other side and on the edges. And pretty much once you start putting that down, it should start just almost immediately creating the look. You should be able to start seeing sort of, it should start looking sort of like that metallic gold look. I mean, again, not quite exactly because, you know, it's not done yet, but you should start seeing how it will work. And this one in particular is I like doing for 3PO because it kind of, to me, looks a little bit like vac metal. Obviously not exactly like, but it kind of looks close to the vac metal to me, to my eye. So that's why I like doing it this method. So and again, just sort of, they gave me a gleam. I'm going to use the gleam down in there. Yep, you can see it's already starting to, at least on camera, it's starting to have that look. All right, there we go. Yeah, they're coral. Coral is one of the other ones. It's like turquoise and diamondetta, and I'm trying to think. There was one other one. Coral, turquoise, and diamondetta, I think, are the ones. And then I think the diamond one got limited release, but it was really just I think a recolor of sapphire. I need to somewhere I have a file with all that stuff in it. Limited release, like on blue packaging. So. And now, of course, the face. Again, I just sort of do like sort of shades around certain parts of it. Doesn't need to be the full thing. It actually won't look right if you were to do the whole thing. So. Okay. Let's see, that needs to be, it's a little bit in there. Just gonna go in and darken a few spots. And if this is something if you're gonna try to replicate, it'll probably take a couple practices to sort of get it. And again, there's, like I said, there are some really good tutorials out there that sort of walk you through step by step. One day I'll get to a point where I can make a tutorial without botching it, but not quite there yet. And that's all right. Nobody is. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna stop with the Tuscan red. I'm going to go in with goldenrod. As you can see, I use the goldenrod a lot. This one's almost ready to retire, not quite yet. And I'm going to go in really lightly and sort of start doing a blend with that Tuscan red. And that starts giving it sort of that goldish look. And I'm trying to avoid pressing really hard with the goldenrod because I don't necessarily want, because if you go too hard then you can't add more layers, and I need to add one more layer to this to sort of really get it to where I want it to be to get that gold look. So Prismacolor, pretty much you can do a lot of layers as long as you don't press too hard. Sometimes I press too hard though. Like the Impatience, I sometimes just, get in, get out. So. But yeah, just sort of do that. And again, you can already sort of see on camera it's starting to get that look to it. More so in person. Not yet figured out why I don't know if it's a setting I haven't figured out on my camera phone yet. But for some reason, some stuff doesn't quite translate as well. So until I take a picture of it. So but this it looks pretty okay on the camera. So it looks pretty close, but they're just little things that don't work out. So. And even when I'm doing this, I do leave some space white. Well, not white, but with just the deco, that first layer of yellow. It's a really light yellow. One that sort of helps create, again, like a look of a gleam or a shine. He's getting there. Good old 3PO. Hello, Oz. Lovely to see you today. How are you? I hope you are having a good Friday, and I hope you have Monday off. So. Okay, there we go. Yep, it's looking pretty good. Just Chris saying hi to Oz. So almost getting close to being done with 3PO. It's kind of ironic that this last color that we're using on him is called Goldenrod. So, just one of Han Solo's nicknames for him. No, yeah, it looks pretty good. I like it at least. In my opinion, the rule is as long as you like it, and it's good. So most of us are going to be doing this stuff for ourselves and for our own amusement and our own pleasure. So definitely, if you're enjoying it and you like how it looks, that's the important thing. And again, if somebody's paying you to do stuff like this, then that's a little different. But here we go. And just do the face. And I'm going to do the one leg sort of silver gray. I'm going to use a darker silver than what I used with R2, just so that it stands out a little bit more. All right, and silver leg is done. So what that leaves is all the wires and stuff. So for that, we're gonna get super duper artistic. And we're going to use these jelly pens. These metallic jelly pens that smell like fruit. So we're going to use a banana. This is a very specific thing you only learn in art college. Glitter pens. Only real artists use glitter pens that smell like bananas. And this one smells like cherry. So, if anyone tells you otherwise, they're wrong. I don't even know how good the jelly pen stuff shows up, but trust me, it looks really good. Very artistic, very fancy. Smithsonian on the phone right now. And of course, blue. It smells like blueberries. At least I think it does. My allergies are acting up right now, so. But the little blueberries thing right there tells me it smells like blueberries. And then I'm going to use the sort of yellow glitter one to go in and do 3PO's eyes. Sort of give him that lit look that we love so much for 3PO. Now I'm going to use the blue to just sort of highlight R2's blue stuff. And use a little bit of the red in his red eye to give it just a little bit of a glossiness. There we go. And there we go. We have conquered art. So, let's see. All right, I have missed some stuff. Let me catch up really quick. Yeah, see, I agree. That's way too much work. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. I want to see it. Sure. Oh, yeah. Yep, glitter pens. They are, they're amazing. So, all right, so we just finished R2 and 3PO. It's only an hour and 24 minutes in, and I said I was going to do 2 hours today, so we're going to start another one. So first, let's get the droids out of the way. Peel all the silver tape away. I bought a bunch of the silver tape during the pandemic so that I was going to use it to make an armor look for some action figures, and it doesn't stick to action figures very well, so much for that. But it works perfectly for putting paper down, and luckily, since I have 12 rolls of it, it does. Alright, so let's see. I think we'll work on Chewbacca. I've done some Chewies before, so if I finish them offline, it's not a big deal. We've got a Gamorrean guard and a TIE fighter pilot in there, and I've never done even shorts with either of those, so I definitely don't want to start one of those on a stream and not finish them. Too cool. And I think I'll start with the Gamorrean. I'm going to do, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to do a live stream also on Monday. Celebrate Star Wars weekend. So I think I'll start with the Gamorrean guard. And then if we finish the Gamorrean Guard, I'll move to the TIE Pilot because he's basically just black. So it'll be all about shading. All right, so we got Chewie here. And let's go back to the Karan Dash for his background. Let's see. What color should I use? I think Chewbacca is brown. So definitely not brown. Let's do yellow. I don't use yellow too much. Well, for backgrounds anyway. I'm going to go a little bit heavier with the yellow than I did with the blue earlier. Just because I want this one to really pop. Yep, exactly. Bodega Chewy. And you just said that, and if it was 1999, you would get that Chewbacca variant. Alright. Sorry. My Discord went off, and one of the Discords that went off was the work one, but it had nothing to do with it. I'm technically off today, but every so often it's good to know what's happening. But it was nothing. So I'm putting in the yellow, but I'm actually also going to fancy this up a little bit. So pretty jagged with the yellow. That's because I'll put a little orange in it. Make this a little fancier. I'll pretend this is the Bespin sky behind it. Alright, and that's that. Alright, and so got all that down, so just time to get the water pen again. And this will go, I don't know, it won't go probably any faster, but it'll just seem like it because I don't have to necessarily color around as many things as I did with the other. And this should give us a really nice, it will be a really nice orange, yellowy background. So. And once it's all finished and Chewie's all brown, it should pop a lot more. So. It's one of the things I do like about this book is it's like that R2 and 3PO with the suns. That's one of the most elaborate backgrounds of this book. So, you know, I'm still going to be doing shorts once the 1 year of daily shorts is over. Just, again, not as many. It will not be daily. But I'll be working on a couple of the pages from this book just because they go pretty quick. We just did that R2 and 3PO in like an hour and a half, and that included me stopping to talk. Like, if I were to film that as a short, that would probably take an hour. And some of my shorts take 3 to 4 hours to film. So I want to work on a few simpler ones, just because. But so yeah, you'll see more like this if you watch my shorts, and I think actually everybody here does, because you've all at one point or another commented on them. So I feel like I'm making assumptions, but and for me, it's fun to just do these ones where it's just about the character too. I definitely also like doing ones where it's a scene, and I certainly look forward to doing some of them. I did 2 Beetlejuice pages this morning from the cartoon, not the movie. And those were really fun because I've never done any Beetlejuice stuff. But I had some Beetlejuice stuff that I printed out months ago. I'm like, I'll do this at some point. And as I was plotting out sort of the end of one year, I'm like, let me slip some Beetlejuice in it. And plus with the movie coming, it's probably a good time to throw some Beetlejuice shorts out into the algorithm. But they were really fun. And I'd never watched that cartoon because I was a little old at the, like, wasn't really doing Saturday morning cartoons when that show hit. My brother watched it, so I sort of was aware of it because of my brother, but I did not watch that one. Also, it seems like it's weird because it seems like on the show Beetlejuice and Lydia are like a couple, but she's like 14. So I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, so there's some Beetlejuice shorts that I worked on this morning that were pretty fun. And it's just nice to do stuff that you don't normally do. And our background is done. So yeah, again, this is why I like these. Right? Yeah, right. Well, you don't want to assume stuff. Yeah, well, he did, but like she wasn't into it in the movie. Like in the cartoon, it was like they were a couple. Like she was into him. Like I don't know. Just, yeah, I don't know. It was. I'm sort of doing a little bit of research so that I could sort of, like I don't always spend a lot of time trying to be super accurate, as we just saw with the R2 and 3PO. But I try to be mostly accurate because a lot of these, older shows and toy lines have fans and, like who don't always get stuff. So when they get stuff, I wanted to try to be right. But I'm like, why are they like a couple? Like, and I remembered thinking that back when the show hit, but I was like, I mean, I was a teenager, but that's still a kid. Once you're as old as I am, you're like, oh my god, 16 is a baby. But it seemed weird, but not as weird as it seems now. Like, yeah, he was pervy trying to marry her, but it was also not like he wasn't necessarily trying to marry her because he was into her. It was so that he could get back into the land of the living. So it just seems like in the cartoon they were like a couple. And it's just, I don't know, it's weird. I'm just gonna put like a weird yellow sun. And yes, my white paint pen is finally dying. Which is sad. But I use these a lot. So I bought a pack of 5 like a year ago, and this is the 3rd of them. And considering how much I use it, it's a pretty good deal. So, but it is to that point where it's dying that slow death. But we're gonna give Chewy like this, and right now it's just gonna be white. I have to wait for it to dry, but I'm gonna go and put a little bit extra into it. I just kind of want that. Get the white paint on there and let it dry, and then I'll go in and play around with that. All right, there we go. Yeah, like in the cartoon again, like I remembered it as I was looking at it, and again, it was just, I did not watch a lot of it as a kid. It was, well, as a teenager, my brother watched it, and it was just really weird that, like, sort of the memories I did have of it, and then looking at sort of, I read a few synopses of episodes, and I was just like, it was like Beetlejuice was sticking it to the man, and it just, I don't know. It just was weird. Like in the movie, it was really clear he was the bad guy. He was funny and he was humorous, but he was the bad guy for sure. And I don't know, like, but that's also not uncommon in 80s media. So. I mean, there's a lot of, Revenge of the Nerds, we're not going to talk about it because I haven't had lunch. I've had too many, I had a bagel and a croissant, and some coffee, so, but yeah, just Revenge of the Nerds. Like, enough said. Alright. Alright, so for Chewy, I'm going to start with, it's called Sandbar Brown. And it's a very light, very dull brown. And that's sort of like a base coat. I'm not going to try to, not necessarily doing a full coverage. I just sort of want to get some lines down. And this is pretty much how I would do like brown hair. Just, it's all over because he's a furry Wookiee. And speaking of furry Wookiees, my ex, his sister, is getting married in a few weeks. So I think of her every time I see Chewbacca. Well, more like, yeah, so I do. Hello. Hello, Lawrence. Welcome. So yeah, I'm just going to go in and, again, I'm not doing full coverage with this particular shade. Sort of going to do some lines and some strands. But this will help give it sort of a more realistic, more textured hair-like look. I'm going to go in with the other browns. So. I need to go to storage because in storage I have my 1979, I think was maybe 78, either 78 or 79. First 2 years of Star Wars. I have a stuffed Chewbacca that I got for Christmas one of those 2 years. He's pretty matted up. I do not have the bandolier anymore. That disappeared at some point early on, but I still have my stuffed Chewie. I had that for a really long time. Even after most of the Star Wars toys went away, he still was on my bed for a really long time. Like I didn't have, my brother had Care Bears. I was a little too old. Technically, I liked Care, obviously. If you've noticed the amount of Care Bears I have on my channel, I really liked them, but I was told I was too old for Care Bears. Care Bears were for babies. Which I'm sure my brother appreciated because he was like 4 or 5 at the time, and once you're 4 or 5, you don't consider yourself a baby. But I wasn't even really that old, which is weird, but I don't know. My mom was really weird about, she was fine with adult collecting, but like when I hit like 10, it was like time for me to not play with toys anymore, and I just sort of stubbornly held on for a few years. She got really annoyed a few times in high school when I would sort of drag stuff out because I started collecting comic books. And she got really annoyed when I set up like all of the superpowers. My brother had but at this point my brother was into Turtles. But I set up his Hall of Justice playset, and You know, we both had pretty equally collected superpowers. So about half of them were mine, and the other half were his. But he didn't care anymore. His turtles, and he did get when the Batman movie came out. He did get like Batman and the Joker, and he had like the Toy Biz Batcave. But and so those went up with the Hall of Justice and all of that stuff. But it was really rich. She got really unhappy, and like I remember picking up the Toy Biz when they first started releasing. I got that Wonder Woman, and I got the Storm that they put out for X-Men to go on the superhero shelf. And I remember her getting really annoyed by that. Like just. And then after high school, whenever I read all the Star Wars, the first of the Zahn trilogy, and I started dragging all of my toys out and setting them up again, all the Star Wars stuff mostly. Well, that's all I had. Like all of my strawberry shortcake, all of my dolls and stuff she made me give to a neighbor girl who didn't have as much as we did, finger quotes. So I don't have the 2 or 3 Care Bears things I was able to get. All of my Strawberry Land Mini, all of the things, like my Annie doll. I loved, don't laugh at me people, I loved Little Orphan, that Annie movie, loved it. Had the doll, all the outfits. I don't ever remember seeing any of the other dolls in any of the stores, but I had that. That was the year Motu came out. So my brother was into Motu that first year, and I was into Annie. Then I saw Tila, and then I was Motu. But she made me give all of that away to like this little neighbor girl who didn't have anything. Somehow I managed to maintain my She-Ra stuff, but I had also worked and bought most of that because that was when the whole "you're too old for toys" stuff started. So they weren't really buying me toys at that point as much. Like we got Eternia, like both me and my brother. That was a joint gift, but that was also like a joint gift. Like, so anyway. But yeah, I managed to retain that Chewbacca doll. I still have it. It's not here in the apartment with me. But because when you move in with your adult boyfriend and you're both in your 40s and you're already lining the walls with action figures and you've got a couple creepy dolls, you just don't want to compound it by like, look, this Chewbacca is going to live on our bed now. I mean, I could, but at the time, no. Oh, so, one, thank you, Lawrence, but I think my personal belief is everybody has a little bit of artistic skill, and I try to present stuff in a way where even if you don't feel like you have a lot of artistic skill, you could probably accomplish some of the stuff. So definitely, yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, I have artistic skill, but I'll never paint like the Mona Lisa. I'm never going to be a great artist, but I do what I can with what I got. So I think just find stuff you enjoy doing artistically and creatively and just do it. Don't worry about whether or not you're good or not. Even the great artists never feel like they're good enough. So it's just about entertaining yourself and having a good time and relaxing, and creativity is good for your heart and your soul. So. Hello, welcome, Alex. Yeah, right. That's what's funny though, because like I graduated high school, like, and Star Wars happened. Also, it was the same summer Batman Returns happened. So I, as soon as I saw that Catwoman, I was like, I need her. She goes on the Superpowers shelf with all my comic book stuff. And I had found a Double Trouble discounted at Dillard's like the summer before. Mint on card. She's still behind me on the wall. And then that happened. And then by the time Power of the Force hit, though, like what's funny is when Power of the Force toys first started showing up, I was working at Blockbuster. I lived in the city. I was very bad at, this is going to be a surprise to anyone as an adult toy collector. I was not great at budgeting back then. And I, you know, like, as you can probably tell, we were spoiled. And my mom did not make us do a lot of chores. So I was not great at remembering, oh, you need to go buy groceries. So my mom took me to the super Walmart so that we could get groceries, because she would come into town once a week to get, because they still lived in the country and had a bit of their trucks. She'd come pick me up and take me and get me, buy me like $40 worth of groceries, which was good. I could make that last for a while. I mean, I like I said, I worked at Blockbuster, so I ate a lot of Snow Caps and Diet Sprite, and would like eat fast food for lunch and stuff, but I never really had food at home. And we were at Walmart. She was buying me groceries and laundry detergent and all the stuff that you do for your adult kids who don't know what the hell to do with themselves and are used to a mom who does it all. And she was looking for something in the toy aisle for my brother. And we saw those first. I didn't even know they were going to start making. I mean, the whole Bendham's situation had me. We had found those, and I was just horrified that those were real toys. But we were in the toy aisle looking for something. It was Luke, Darth Vader, and a Stormtrooper. And she was like, "Look, Star Wars. These are going to be worth a lot of money. Let's buy them." So I bought them. Well, I bought Luke and Vader. I did not buy the Stormtrooper. Because I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't all in at first. I took them home and, you know, opened them, set them up on the shelf, read some Star Wars books. And next week when I went on my own to get toiletries, let's call them toiletries, I was like, oh, maybe I'll grab that Stormtrooper. And they had the Stormtrooper, but they also had Chewbacca and R2-D2. So I bought Chewbacca and R2-D2. So did not buy the Stormtrooper then. It took me it was like the third or fourth time I was in there that I finally bought, and then I bought like 3 Stormtroopers. I'm like, we never were allowed to have more than, we had 2 Stormtroopers growing up because I got one, and then I convinced my aunt that I didn't have but the one. I didn't have one, and she bought me another one. And my mom got kind of mad. So that was the closest we got to army building as kids. But, so I got like 3 Stormtroopers when I finally bought them. And then after that, anytime I would go to the store, if they didn't have new figures, I would just buy Stormtroopers. At one point, well, I mean, I still have like 20 of them here. I've got at least 20 Power of the Force 2 Stormtroopers. I need to just go to storage and break everything up. I should start displaying all this stuff. But I have all of my Power of the Force 2 stuff up here. When I went back and got my car and drove it up here, I loaded it down with Power of the Force. So like 3 Millennium Falcon cases full of figures, a bunch of that C-3PO case that they released. I've got that full of figures. There's like a box that just has more like literally I had every Power of the Force figure. And then I bought a few more so that, you know, for my mint on card wall display. Just Leia. Like, it's just Leia. I'm not. It's been really hard though during this Power of the Force 2 month to not like just. There have been a lot of lots where it's like $50, 72 Power of the Force 2 figures. It's been really hard to resist all of that. I don't know. Power of the Force 2 was just a really fun time. And sort of when adult toy collecting started, I had adult money, so I was able to get, like, we didn't have a lot of the ships and stuff, so I was able to buy all of that. So, hello. Yeah, you know, like Power of the Force 2 is, I don't know, it's just, I know people make fun of it, and but that's what those toys had to look like to get made in 1995. And as soon as they started selling well, as soon as they started getting feedback, you know, it takes forever, at least back then. You know, like we started getting the new sculpts in what, 97, late 97, 98, which is about when it would have happened when they started getting feedback on those early waves. So, I don't know. It's funny whenever people talk trash about Power of the Force 2. I'm just like, you know, guys, none of us would be on the internet, on YouTube, talking about toys the way we do if Power of the Force 2 hadn't have sort of created sort of widespread acceptance of like a, you know, like there's still people who think it's weird, of course, but it just suddenly became a different conversation because of Power of the Force 2. Like, so I have a love for it for sure. So, oh my gosh, we're almost to the 2-hour point. So obviously I'm not going to finish Chewie, but he's pretty close. What I will do is the little white moon I started has dried, so I can go in and finish what I wanted to do with that. Because I don't think anything that's going to happen with Chewie is anything that's going to seem particularly revolutionary. So yeah, I'm gonna sort of go in. This is a Arteza. It's actually a fabric marker, which is kind of weird, but I kind of like these fabric markers. Actually have some, I don't know what to call it, but it's like I can get in and sort of blend with them a little bit. And get some effects. So I'm going to do a little bit of a pink moon to go with the, again, because it's sort of like Bespin, which is all sort of these colors. And got the fabric marker. And then I recently got these, they're not particularly expensive, but they're just watercolor brush markers. I'm just going to sort of go in with that. And put that on top of that fabric marker. And it's of course, because the moon's sort of at the top of the page with how I have the camera set up, you're not necessarily getting it, but it's giving it like a speckled effect. So this one will be on Instagram in a little bit. So yeah, check it out there. You'll be able to see a little bit more with what's happening with the moon. But yeah, so I don't know. I like, you know, it's fun to add planets and stuff. Here we go. All right. You can kind of see it on camera. So anyway, that's what I was going to do with the moon. So that's the only thing sort of not predictable with what's going to happen with this Chewbacca page. So at least I got that done on stream. And this is the exciting part of doing somebody like Chewbacca, all the hair. So, there are a lot of hair tutorial videos that people do sort of on ArtTube. And I figure at some point I'll do a Chewbacca hair tutorial. Okay, so I feel pretty certain nobody else has done one of those yet. Slowly but surely. It's starting to look like a Wookiee. All right. Yeah, it's about 3 minutes till the 2-hour mark, and my hand just said, "Girl, you need to stop." So, we start wrapping up. Yep. So he's pretty close to being done. So, give my hand a break and get some lunch, and then I'll finish it up, post it on Instagram. And I'll post the completed R2 and 3PO on there as well. I think everybody here is on Instagram. This one will go on the Retro Toy Princess Instagram, which is retro_toy_princess. And I also will share it on the Allison of Troy Instagram via stories. But definitely, if you're following one but not the other, follow both. Been trying to get all of the channel stuff over to the Retro Toy Princess channel and just post all of memes on the on my regular one. But not always, because you have to bring out the olives. It's just a thing. Well, it happens, but there's always replay, Alex. So yeah, everyone, thank you very much for joining me today. I will be live streaming my normal time on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with Aaron the Toy Enhancer. We're going to be coloring more pages from that G.I. Joe book that we're working on together. And then Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will be doing more pages from the Star Wars book. And I think we're going to do the Gamorrean Guard. And if we finish the Gamorrean Guard, we will do a TIE Fighter pilot. So yeah, that'll be on Monday. And until then, I thank you everyone for joining me. I appreciate it very much. There are Power of the Force 2 videos hitting. I'm spacing and I forget who is today, but if you go to my community tab, in a little bit, the last couple of days will be all linked. I've got up through the 17th right now, and then I'll get everything posted through yesterday in a little bit. So that way you can watch all the videos. There's some great great creators making great content that's really fun for Power of the Force too. So, and I appreciate all of you for joining me today. Thank you so much. Yep. See you. I will see all of you in chats around for the weekend, and maybe at the clubhouse tomorrow night if I can get all of my shorts finished. So, much. I was about to say, yeah, much love. Thank you so much, and may the Force be with you. Retro Toy Princess out.